Hey everybody, it is Jim with Triple J Bricks. Welcome back to another video and more dissecting our Rochester Haul. And I have a special one for you today, and it's a bit ambitious. It might be a bit foolhardy, but we're gonna see anyway. But first, we have a ton of Bricklink orders to get through and that I need to pull, so let's get started on that. Okay, this first order is going out to Adler. Adler is all in $17.13. Bunch of dark red. I would guess doing some Star Wars stuff perhaps, a bunch of white parts. Well, obviously, some Star Wars stuff here. These pieces, bunch of small Technic pins, just a bunch of dark red stuff. Actually cleaned me out of several, actually, dark red stuff. A bunch of plates. Yeah, made some great space. So thank you, Adler. Appreciate the order. This is going out to David. David's all in 1664. Collectible minifigure, little baby creeper, a sand red droid arm, a villager, and a couple droids. Thank you, David. This one's going out to Anne. Anne is all in $11.96. $3.50 of that is this little baby. The little baby is going out the store, but nice to get rid of some of these Ninjago things. I honestly didn't know if any of these would sell, but what I'm discovering is that people sort of just kind of want anything. Like, you just never know. You just never know. So thank you, Anne, and I really appreciate the order. Woo, okay. $6.56 all in, and $9.49 for all of this stuff. This took a while to pull, but I am pretty stoked about it because, one, cleared me out of these tires, cleared me out of a bunch of Technic, Bionicle, some Hero Factory stuff, big windscreens. Yeah, bunch of stuff. But this definitely took me a while. But it just feels really, really good to get parts out of the store to make room for more parts. And they're going to be put to use. I think there's something, I don't know. I'm really enjoying the process. Like, yes, this took a while to pull, and yes, it's not a lot of money, but it's, I don't know. There's something about like the Lego hobby and knowing that I put the care and effort into, you know, cleaning, sorting, organizing these pieces, putting them into the store, and now they get to go to someone who needs them for a build or for a mock or for something creative, or maybe they're doing a project with their kid or they're rebuilding a childhood set. Like, it's so, anyway, I'm just waxing poetic now. But anyway, these are going out to Trent and William. William also picked up a bunch of red, white, and yellow parts and a couple other things. Some medium orange, cleared me out of those. But just some bricks and plates, so possibly doing like a vintage thing. I'm not sure, but thank you so much, guys. They are on their way. This order is from Hyunmin. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but thank you for the order. You are all in $5.66. Just a bunch of Ninjago minifigure parts. Thank you for the order, friend. It's on its way. This order is going out to Danju for $31.48. Just a bunch of different minifigure parts, a Chima fig, some printed and sticker pieces. A lot of this stuff was things that I had just inputted when I did all the sticker parts, so it's cool to see that working. A couple slopes. Yeah, just a good variety of stuff. So there you go. It is on its way. Okay, all in on this order, $23.24. And this one is going out to Ken, who is a new viewer of the channel. So thank you so much for that, Ken. And I'll read Ken's message here in a second. Ken got a bunch of parts. And Ken is going to be the very first recipient of the new business cards. They're going to be in every package. So thank you, Ken. You're going to be the very first one. It says thank you on one side, and then you can scan this QR code on the other side to follow along my Lego journey. It just links to the YouTube channel, which I guess Ken doesn't really need, but for people who aren't viewers, hoping to sort of use this to bridge the Bricklink store and the YouTube channel. This is going out to you, Ken, and also I will be sending you, since you are a viewer, you will be getting a 15% off coupon for your next go around through the store. So that will be in your inbox very shortly, but let me read Ken's message here. Ken says, just started watching your videos, found out about the channel from watching Travis Marsala's channel, which, by the way, massive shout out to Travis Marsala, who also has a Bricklink store. That guy is hustling. He's so kind, so wonderful. Please go and check him out. Travis Marsala, you can find him on YouTube that way. Has his Bricklink store link right there. Go check him out. Watch his videos. It's really excellent stuff. Watching someone just hit entrepreneurship so hard and in such an authentic way. And Travis has kind of become, I would say, a good friend to myself. We've been messaging back and forth, and we've been having chats. We're at very similar points in our lives. We both have young kids. We're both trying to, make content and do all this kind of stuff. And so it's just been really nice to have Travis as a friend. So please go check him out. But yeah, so he came over from Travis's channel, which I frequent a lot. He said, it's great to see how much you enjoy Lego, which I do. Keep up the great work. Regards, Ken. So thank you so much, Ken. Your order is on its way. Appreciate it. Okay, so what are we going to work on today? Well, I found these. These are little printed tiles. They kind of look like mushrooms. And I found 3 of these in the Rochester Haul while I was doing some sorting, which, by the way, I've been doing a bunch of sorting, just rough sorting into these trays, and I've decided that the majority of, so I peeled some of this back. It might not look like it, but I've definitely taken a bunch off of here. The plates are all still down there, but what I've decided is I was doing a bunch of sorting, just kind of into rough categories, and then what I've decided is it's not super important to me for things like bricks, plates, slopes, just kind of more of the basic elements. I'm just putting them all into my inventory. And because they're easier to find that way, those are easier to pull. And then some of the specialized elements, some more of that stuff, I'm going to kind of keep out so that I can always kind of reference what I have that might be a little bit more specialty when trying to put together some of these sets. And yeah, so I think this is probably a good way to do it. Like, obviously I'm going to keep like the sticker parts, the bionicle pieces, stuff like that. But some of the basic elements, just to get them out of the way, I'm going to be doing a little bit more sorting as well. And it's not actually taking too long, but I'm just putting it into my inventory because then I can just pull from it when I'm trying to find a Bricklink, list of parts. And this is going to make it a whole lot easier to grab from. But specific elements that might be a little bit more specialty or, in less sets, that kind of thing, I'm going to try to separate out and make them accessible, but also something where it's like, oh, I didn't have, okay, so this did come in this haul, and this is not something that I had in my inventory. Just for, I think, for easier reference. I should also let you know that the Temple of Light set that I put together in the previous video, I listed on eBay for $40, and it already sold. So that is already shipped out and on its way. The guy was very excited to get it. It was a set he didn't have as a kid. I made reference to the fact that it's not 100% complete. Made sure that was all very, very clear. But that's $40. I only paid $140 for this entire thing. So that's pretty cool. We're well on our way to getting the money back, and I think there's a ton of sets yet in here. Again, I don't know how complete they are, but even if some of these sets are like 80, 90% complete, some of them are going to be worth probably piecing together. But I have quite a few sticker parts and things But I'll get to some of that in a later video. But let's go back to this. I found these three, and I didn't know what these were from, so I looked them up. And there is only one set. Now, there could be more in there, I suppose. There could be. But when I was looking these up, there is only one set that has three of these. And that set is the UCS Ewok Village from 2013. And after I found this, there was only like 4 sets that had these in them at all, and I think almost all of them are Star Wars sets. It's possible one of them was a Harry Potter set. But, oh, there was actually a Lord of the Rings set as well that had these in. But I looked that one up and I didn't think it was that. But there were only 2 in the Lord of the Rings set, and there's 3 in the Ewok Village. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jim, there's no way you have an Ewok Village in this set. And you might be right. But after I looked this up, I realized that I have a lot of these pieces in this collection. Like, I have a ton of brown, dark brown slopes, all that stuff. Like, obviously, I don't think I have any of these minifigures. Maybe I have one, but I don't think I have any of the Ewoks. But I have a ton of that greenery. I have a ton of that olive green stuff. I have flex tubing, I believe. Like, I was just looking at this, and some of these parts even are not that complicated. Like, I have a bunch of rope. I have a bunch of, like, there's a net there. I have that. And there's other stuff that was popping up in here that made me think I might have some of this in here. And maybe I don't. I don't even know yet. I have just literally pulled these 3 pieces. But I've created a bag, and I'm going to start pulling some of these, because even without the minifigures, this set is incredibly valuable. And if I can try to piece this thing together, that would be pretty cool, not only from like an earnings perspective, but also to be able to build this kind of, you know, flagship Star Wars set that I never owned. This was totally during my dark ages, but I think it would be pretty cool to try to put it together. And if I can, then I can get it off to somebody who wants it, and I can make some money back. And probably, you know, earn enough back for this to be cost nothing at this point. And I still have a bunch of sets yet. So I know it's ambitious. I know it might be foolhardy. I know some of you are probably thinking, Jim, there's no way, but I don't know. I think it'd be fun to go on the adventure and see what we can do. So I have the parts list up here, and I even have, okay, I know that this web is like a super common element, but there's one in this set, and I had one in the bin of larger like parts that I pulled. Like, there's not a whole lot of crazy stuff in here. I have a lot of those brown bricks that I pulled, tons of those, like, I have a bunch of these profile bricks. Yeah, I mean, because even if I can get this to like 90%, there they are. Those are the inverted dishes that I have. Even if I can get this to like 90%, it might be worth, you know, purchasing a few extra of the parts to complete it. The one thing I'm not sure that I have is 71 dark brown droid arms, but also those are really, really small elements, and so I haven't really gone through a lot of that stuff. I also had one of these dark tan bags in there. I believe I have this helmet. I think I have that helmet as well. I believe I saw those in there as well. So, you know, I have this big pot. The blasters, you know, those are easy to come by. Those are pretty simple elements. I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of these. I know that I saw a bunch of the olive green. So, I mean, again, I know that these aren't like super crazy elements, but I have these, I think. I know I have 2 of those. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of parts in here. This is going to take me a long time to put together all of these elements, but I enjoy it. It's fun, and I think it might be exciting to figure out, like, do we have this? I have this brown, reddish brown rock panel. Yeah, but I have a ton of these. So it's 21 dark brown 2x2x3 studs. There's a ton of these, and I don't think that's a very common slope, the dark brown. At least not in my inventory. I don't think I had a bunch of them, but all of a sudden I was pulling like a ton of these out. And then when I found out about the set, I was like, oh, maybe that's from that. I was also pulling out a ton of dark brown slopes. There's 50 of them in this set. I feel like I might have it. I don't know, or at least a bunch of it. So we're gonna dive into that, and I'm gonna start to pull all of this and see where we end up.
2,000 years later.
Okay. Here it is. I mean, it's not complete, but I have 3 bags. I was going to record more of this, like, as I was going, but this is, like, several days later, and this took me, I'd say probably, like, a few hours, 3-4 hours, maybe, to pull these parts, but then during that, I was also sorting all of the parts that used to be here. I was sorting them and putting them away into my inventory. And what I'm doing now is so these are like the remaining Technic parts, and then these are just like some bars and small elements and stuff. And so what I'm going to do, and I'm not quite finished yet, but basically I've bagged up, like, these are car parts, because so many of the car elements that I had in my inventory are now on my Bricklink store. But if I'm going to continue to try and piece back together sets, I would rather have these. I don't want to put them in the store and then have to pull them from my store inventory. And so, like, because all of this stuff, and like the bricks and the plates and slopes and all that stuff, those have a home here. And so the colors that I don't normally have that are in the store, I've put into their respective drawers. And I'm kind of doing like a little bit of, this is not a great idea, but I'm doing this just for now until I'm finished putting some of these sets together. So I'm just like storing, like, these are all wedge plates that don't have a home in my normal personal inventory that I would normally have in my store. Yeah, but for now, they're just going to sit there in case I need to, pull them quickly, and so then I don't have to pull from my store. I hope that makes sense. So I have car parts here, smaller random bits, and then these are larger random bits, I guess. Yeah, so, I'm not entirely sure what I have yet. And then, of course, like, I'll just show you. So then I have several bins. I haven't gone through all of the minifigure parts yet. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just, if I can piece together a set, I'm probably just going to sell the minifigures on Bricklink separately, and just sell the sets as is without the figures. So then I have more Technic pieces in here that have been roughly sorted, and then underneath that I have all the plates that I haven't really done yet, and then there's more large parts and the Bionicle stuff under there. So anyway, back to this. So as I said, yeah, I've spent 3-4 hours doing this. I have been able to pull together, I would say, well, I can tell you, actually. I have pulled together everything, and I've made a wanted list for all the things I don't have, and these are all the parts that I am missing. And it kind of seems like a lot, but it's actually not too bad, because some of this stuff I could skip if I really needed to. And there's just a few things on here that are fairly basic that I just don't have. And then there's a couple things that are a little bit more tricky. So I need basically all of these long hoses. And unfortunately, those are kind of expensive. So I need to, what I'm going to do is, I think there's 58 lots. 58 lots. I don't remember how many parts. Yeah, 58 lots. So, but some of this stuff, like, I'm not too concerned about getting, and I have some more bulk that I'm going to be going through fairly soon. And so I would say I probably only pulled from my personal inventory maybe 10% of what is here, which is pretty good, because that means I had about 75, 80% of the Ewok village. Like, if we consider this another 10%, which it probably roughly is, maybe a little bit more, it's probably about 10%. If we consider this roughly 10%, and then the 10% I pulled from my inventory, 80%, which is pretty good. It's more than I actually expected. So, again, this is a very valuable set. I think if I was able to complete it, even without minifigures, I could sell it probably for about 300. Maybe a little more, depending. But I think I'm just going to sit on this for a while and try to accumulate some more parts, and accumulate parts maybe a little more slowly, because I want to complete, there's more sets down here that we will tackle in the next video. But what I want to do is, I don't want to rush this and just make a big wanted list and then spend too much money, you know, trying to get a wanted list together for some of this stuff. I think there are some fairly basic elements here that I'm going to be able to get or find. And so I want to try and do some of that before I go a little bananas here. It's so odd what was here and what was missing. So it's really hard to tell if this guy who I bought this from, did he actually have this set or not? Because I don't have any of the minifigures, but he had 80% of the set in that bin. But yet he's missing like a ton of stuff. Not a ton, but just like pretty much all of these dark brown curved slopes. I'm pretty sure he was missing most of those. Also missing a lot of these reddish brown slopes. Pretty much like all of the dark brown battle droid arms. There's like 74 in this set, or 75, because they're all the clips that hold the railings together. He was missing most of those. So maybe like the railings got pulled off, because again, he's missing the flex tubing. But there were so many other elements that were here. So I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing. It's a mystery a little bit, but I think it's kind of cool, and it's been fun to see what was possible. So I will probably sit on this, and I will wait until I can get through more of these sets, because if there's more parts that I want to fill in my wanted list, then maybe slowly and more economically I can kind of piece some of this stuff back together. Because even if I spent like $50, $60 piecing, you know, on a wanted list, piecing this back together, you know, it would still be worth it. Because one, I get to build this like cool UCS set. And then two, I'd be able to sell it still and still, you know, make some money back. Because I only paid $140 for the whole thing, and I've already sold a set for 40. And I think I probably have another, I don't know, a potential another 150 maybe in those sets. So, not to mention the minifigures. Or any of the individual parts, you know, that just end up going into the store. So I think it would be a fun experiment to do this. And again, like this is what's so fun about this hobby, is that like if I can piece this together, I'll get to build a set that I would not have built otherwise, and didn't have because it was during my dark ages. So yeah, I think I'm pretty stoked about it. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I feel pretty happy about where it's at, and I think it's a pretty cool, fun thing. Because at the end of the day, this is still a really enjoyable hobby. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to penny pinch every single thing out of this. I would like to, it's just a way to, you know, be able to fund this hobby and not break the bank and make a little bit of money for my family, but it's also still a hobby and I want to enjoy it. So if I have to spend a little bit of money, you know, to build it and then end up selling it, I think I'm okay with that. But let me know what you think. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for this video. This Rochester haul is really starting to pull out some gems. I have more to come in terms of sets that I may have based on quite a few of the sticker pieces and printed tiles and printed pieces that I have. So, more to come on that. That will be in the next video, but thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But remember, until then, keep on building. Jim out.